Welcome to the audio excerpts of special seminars and conversations with Nolan Narula on gettingpositivekarmanow.com.
The blog and the SoundCloud, so it is live stream.
Yeah.
So while Shukra was talking about the relationship, so there was this blog where it was my question only that I see that divine reciprocate, I know he loves me, like whatever his plan which manifests for me, it's perfect, but I don't feel with my own family members sometimes that they're reciprocating the same way I would.
Sure.
So you said lower down the expectation, and that really changed my life, and that's like my funda, that you have to do your best or to do what you're comfortable with, but don't expect anyone to do anything else.
Correct.
Then you will never suffer or have that pain.
Correct.
That was wonderful. And so on our healing community, I see a lot of shares from like different, professor or lecturer or other things. But there's nothing, there's nothing ever I have not heard from you or not understood.
And would like to push you for it. She doesn't like it. Someone else put something, he said like someone.
No, sir, it's
She
like...
come with, he said, hasn't he already said?
Yeah. Sir, but it's like... I've already heard it, and if you go through the blog, you will find enough of this material. It's just that it's so easily available that we don't pay much attention to it.
See, the thing is, people are not one-pointed. So they are looking for alternate confirmation or some different way of saying the same thing. That is the speculative mode. So they're into speculation and they're thinking, oh, this person said this and this is very important and very interesting, and so on and so forth. And this is a different way of saying the same thing. If you are not exactly in the same school or the university, you will have problems. So if you stick to this line, for example, we are referring only to the teachings of the Gaudiya Vaishnav tradition, the Brahma Sampradaya, where we are. But we also take the compatible aspects of the other Sampradayas, the Rudra Sampradaya, the Lakshmi Sampradaya, and the Kumar Sampradaya, also, because they are saying the same thing. But if you talk of somebody who's a self-styled philosopher without this background, like I was coming across this person, Devdutt Patnaik, is supposed to be a very famous fellow.
Yeah.
And I was just reading something which really bothered me. He said Krishna was a rake, means like a womanizer. I found that extremely offensive. Very demonic. Huh?
Even Amit said the same thing.
Yeah, so this is absolutely demonic. It's infuriating. So those kind of people you don't need to listen to at all, because it is highly offensive, and so one should not go there. It will disturb your mind. So this is something this is loose talk. This is talk of people who are uneducated and not in knowledge and absolute rascals in a way. They pretend, they're pretenders and they're scholars of some sort, but they don't have any knowledge. They're not wise people. These people should be rejected, not even go there. Because connecting with these kind of things is very disturbing. It will deviate you from your path, that's for sure. Because then you will start believing it because it suits you. It suits your own motivations. So one has to be very careful to stay within the course of the university curriculum. So we say it is okay, you look at the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition throughout its teachings. The Brahma Sampradaya teachings is fine. While other traditions are also fine, but don't go there because there may be some contradictory things and you'll get confused. So we do refer to other masters, other acharyas in the other line, but where it is very clear cut and they're actually very clear cut. There's no deviation there. They're all agreed on everything that is spoken in the Bhagavad Gita, for example. Even the Adi Shankaracharya although he gave a somewhat impersonalistic commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, right in the beginning he says that you must bhaj Govindam mudhamate. You fool, you have to chant Krishna's name, because at the end of everything, that is the only important thing. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, of all sacrifices, I am the japa sacrifice, I am the japa yagya. So it is more superior to any other karamkand kind of sacrifice that anybody might make. The japa yagya is chanting the holy names of the Lord. Infinite holy names are there. So you chant the holy names of the Lord, you're in the right place. So do not get deviated. There will be people who will talk nonsense, who are not so advanced, who are not so connected. And they will get deviated. They are using Reiki just to see as a service provider. Reiki and KQ Force are my service providers, and if they fail me, I'll change my plan to somebody else. Like I changed from Airtel to Vodafone and to Docomo or whatever it might be. So good luck to them. And then there are those who are driven by fear. So it is important to have knowledge, which liberates you from fear, liberates you from all this nonsense. You must be very, very clear in your thinking. If there are doubts, please feel free to ask. And answers will be there. But if it is a mental, speculative, tark-vitark kind of debate, debating business, that is not something that is useful. But if you don't understand the reason for something, you are absolutely free to ask, and you must.
So we're very lucky to be able to have you to ask at this stage, because it's such a big thing to be told that in your life it's so deflected towards the right place. Otherwise you're thinking of that something and it goes on, like you say, who Krishna is, we vaguely knew. Now it's so clear that he brought us back to that path. So it feels so good. So I guess that it's confirmed that we are doubtless about it eventually. It's so important not to be in ignorance. We spend so many years in schools and getting that artificial sense of security. But as I always said when since I was young, I told my mother, I think this is such an important thing. Why are you getting me to learn it?
I think that's a very good word you've used, doubtless. You don't have doubt now. And that's a good place to be. Yes, Jagji?
So Master, we keep listening to this so many times. All that we are supposed to conduct in our lives, not attachment, not judgment. And we've listened to it so many times, read it so many times on the blog, listened from you in Gita classes, Reiki classes. Why don't we finally get it once and for all?
Well, you've got it to a large degree. You don't recognize it. As a healer, you're already in that place of being detached. But there is that residue, like a ghost echo in your head. Like, everybody is doing this. Why am I not doing it? Isn't it? Isn't it that, is something wrong with me if I don't do it? Huh?
That's where the community helps.
Yeah. So it's the thing that, okay, I'm okay with this. What's the big deal? So you're already there. It's just the ghostly echoes of other people that are bothering you. So you should clear those ghosts, get rid of them. De-ghostify them. And then you'll find that you're actually in a good place. If you are, ultimately, you need something to keep your body and mind in a functional position, in a sustainable position till the end of your life. That's it. If you understand that and you've made some provision for that, then what else are you afraid of? That seems to be the biggest fear. And the ultimate fear is, of course, I'm going to die. But everybody is going to die. What's the big deal? You know where you're going. You're in much better position. A person who's in ignorance has a lot of trouble about death. A person who is not in knowledge is always fearful. They're trying to do so many things to make their life as comfortable, as long-lived, and as so-called enjoyable, enjoying the senses. But all that is a failing program. There is a peak and then it is a decline, and that decline is inevitable. And what do you look at? I mean, if you are a person in his 40s and 50s and even 60s, and then at the end of it, maybe 60s, 70s, some people may decide, okay, I want to live a retired life, but if you have no other interest, what will you retire to do? If you have no other interest you have developed in life, then you are in miserable condition. That's why a lot of people within 3 years or 2 years of retiring, the maximum amount of post-retirement death takes place there in terms of percentage of people. The next 2 years or so. People, because suddenly they feel useless. I have nothing to do. So you need to form other interests. If you're already in that zone, you're fine.
You've been listening to a discussion with Nala Narula on www.gettingpositivekarmanow.com.